Welcome back, pod people, to a brand new episode of Cinema d'Amore. I'm your host, Justin Morgan, and I'm here with
Chuck.
And we are continuing our theme of connectivity between movies. And this week we are talking about Beau Is Afraid, and it has been chosen because it connects to Apostle in some way. If Chuck can guess, he can probably figure it out in his first couple shots, I would imagine. And then the entire episode's not a comparison between the two movies. We just pretty much move on to Beau Is Afraid and talk about that. But yeah, that's my pick. That's my follow-up to Apostle. Chuck, do you have any guess as to what the theme was or the connection? I guess it's really the connection. It's not really the theme.
I mean, something family related?
It wasn't.
I don't know then. It's
No more
also,
guesses?
I watched this movie 2 weeks ago. This is probably the furthest out I've watched a movie before we recorded at this point. So my brain's like, there's probably large chunks of the movie that I'm not even going to remember unless you bring it up at this point.
The movie almost clocks in at 3 hours, so this episode's not going to be that long. By default, we're not going to be able to talk about every single thing in this movie. We're going to pick and choose. So highly recommended that you watch the movie on your own and then come back and listen to this as a companion thing. I really wouldn't listen to us talk about anything if you haven't already watched the movie, unless you really just don't care. You just really enjoy listening to me and Chuck talk to each other. No, the connection is very, very small-ish, I guess, but it's protagonists that get stabbed. That's it.
I would never.
They both get stabbed.
I mean, yeah, they do.
There you go. That's it. Yeah, I think you might have got it eventually. But I don't know what else. I don't know how similar it is to that movie where, like, we've had other movies where they're so damn similar. Like, The Ritual and Apostle were so damn similar. There were really like 4,000 connections. I'm sure there's more connections than just, getting, stabbed. But I wanted to talk about Beau Is Afraid for a little bit, at least have you watch it. I really enjoyed the movie. I don't think it's going to be everybody's cup of tea, but for like that surrealist, like comedy / horror, I don't know. It kind of checks all the boxes for me. Like, the movie stays interesting throughout. Maybe the runtime is a tad long. I don't know. But at home, you can get up and go. I saw it in theaters and didn't mind 3 hours, but my body, I could feel it when I stood up. My body was like, oh man, what are you doing? I would describe this movie. It's Ari Aster's third film following Hereditary and Midsommar. This came out 2 years ago, 2023, and he has a new one coming out this month, actually, Eddington, which is like his COVID / Western. I don't know. I don't know how similar it's going to be to this, or if it's going to be based more in reality. It almost seems like it might be based too much in reality. Like, that's the direction that he's going for that movie. But this is his third. I think all of them have been with A24. They haven't released it, I don't think, as like they need to do like a 4. If you guys are listening, 4K set, please. Do something fun. Do something fancy. But yeah, this is Joaquin Phoenix plays Beau Wassermann, and he's really fucked up, mostly because of his mother. And the premise is, described as like an odyssey for this character to get to his mother. And I think that it kind of needs to be longer to be epic the way that it is. But yeah, there's like 3-ish segments in it. Almost every scene in it I find enjoyable to some aspect. Even the horror stuff, like, I don't know. I was mostly laughing my way through this one. How did you feel about it, Chuck?
Hated this movie.
You hated it?
Hated it. I had to turn it off like 4 times and just stop watching it.
For real?
Yeah.
There's nothing that you liked about it.
Maybe like the first maybe 15 minutes is probably the best part of this movie, and it just goes downhill from there for the rest of that runtime.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's bad. I don't. I mean, it's not. I won't say it's. I don't even know if I want to say it's bad. It's definitely. I mean, he made what he wanted to make. I'm sure he loves it. It's probably uh, it's probably like his most personal movie for him. I'm sure, but I don't know how much of that character maybe is based on him, like the Joaquin Phoenix character.
I would really hope
Uh,
none.
I mean, I don't know. He definitely has. I mean, like you're saying with his next movie, like from the trailers I've seen from that, I think he's going in the direction of maybe going somewhat more realistic in terms of how he's making the movie. Because I don't know, just picking up a little bit off of the other movies between this and Hereditary in particular, definitely something about mothers and sons that he has a thing with. It's like the mothers that hate their sons. There's definitely there's definitely some sort of issue that maybe he's got there between both of those movies with
Yeah, like
Toni Collette and the Patty LuPone mother
yeah,
character in this movie. He definitely seems to have some sort of issue. I think one of his short films is also something to do with like a mother trying to stop her son from going to college or something like that. Which again I don't know if that's related to his mother stopping him from trying to like stop him from going to film school or something. I don't know, but he definitely seems to have some sort of issue there. So, like I said, I don't know how much of the Beau character is his himself, and how much these mothers are his mother.
yeah, I see that. I think for sure, like, yeah, there probably is something, but I mean, obviously,
Midsummer's just like the one kid kills the parents before the movie even starts, like gets rid of them. So it's like it's definitely something with like
she
parents
kind of
that he
becomes like
seems
a
to have an issue with.
mother like a matriarch ish character, though. I guess if you and she's manipulated, so some of the themes are still there. Were you offended because you're like, my mom would never treat me like this?
Yeah, I don't know. This was like I said, I like the first 15 minutes. I think worked for me. And then, I mean, I'm sure there's like parts here and there where it goes, but I mean, I will. Yeah, the runtime way too long by like a good hour. There's so much of this movie that could be cut out. Like every scene just feels like it drags. Like I don't know, the pacing's so weird. There's so many scenes. I legitimately hit the like skip 10-second button on my remote a few times when it got to the points where like there's just whole parts where Joaquin Phoenix just stands there with like his mouth open, going like, I was like, I skip, and like it skips 10 seconds, and he's still just standing in the same spot. I'm like, what is this? Why? He's just there. He's not doing like I don't know.
I thought you would have enjoyed it a lot more for like the surrealist comedy because like it's. I mean, we don't know 100%, but I would say most of this is going on inside of his head, or if it's
Yeah, but
not
that's a
inside of his
problem. Is it's
head,
like it's the movie never does a good job of like the movie never. I feel like never gives you a good idea of if it's going on in his head. Like that's how I first took like when the movie starts and he's in like I don't know, like some insane version of New York City where they're selling like AK-47s to kids on the street or something like that. And there's like a guy going to jump off and everyone's trying to like break into his apartment building at all times. Like that's almost your first thought is that he's like this is just the world how he imagines it. Like everyone in the world's crazy and they're all out to get him. But then the movie just keeps going and you're like, no, all the characters are just like that. Like there's never a moment where you see any character from an outer perspective to go, oh no, he's just crazy and he thinks this is how they are. That just seemed, and again, at least the way he filmed it and presented it, there's never there's never that like outside point of view to make you say, oh no, he's just imagining this is how it is outside of his head. So I mean, you could hope that that's just what it is, but it never, the movie never gives you that.
no, I don't know. And it didn't bother me that it didn't give it to me. I mean, like I was saying, it's either something inside of his head or it really is like this crazy of a world. Like all this shit is going down the way that it's going down. Because literally everybody he runs into, there's just like, even if it's more subtle, it still doesn't seem to add up to be like normal ass people. You know what I mean? Like, when you build up to the scene where he gets hit by Amy Ryan and then he's in Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane's house it's just like it's still weird. It's like a fever dream basically from beginning to end for 3 hours, and I would definitely say this movie is not for everybody, but I think I misjudged it. I thought you were going to enjoy this a hell of a lot more. Just getting his keys stolen, just like, yeah, the absurdity of like you have to drink this with water, and all the water got shut off, so he goes across the street and he risks, going outside without his key, and then it's like his
Just to prop
brain,
the door open with a
everyone's book. Yep, like everybody's going into his house, and
that's right.
There's that guy that's like constantly murdering everybody.
Yeah, the naked, what they call him, like the birthday suit bandit.
Not even the birthday
like
killer. There was like a bearded guy like strangling somebody, and then it's like that's what his character. Yeah, that's what his character does, because when he's in the kitchen, he's still strangling somebody, maybe strangling the same person. I don't know. And there's definitely weird like tie-ins from like different periods of time. Like the guy laying in the street that's just dead, like the dead guy is the same guy that I think is floating in the pool. At least he looks like he's wearing like a similar shirt from like Beau's past, where he was on the cruise line and he found that girl, the only girl he ever kind of liked, but he still never had the courage to do anything about, because his mother like terrified him. But yeah, or like weird things like when Amy Ryan lets him know that he's being watched through the camera, and he fast forwards
too far.
Yeah, like the daughter comes out, and I think that's when they go on that car ride where they're like harassing him, and
that's before. This is when she like they drink paint, or she drinks paint.
Well, when they go back out, the TV is like stuck, and it's literally on the end of the movie. It's like 100% that weird, I don't even know what to call it, amphitheater of some sort. Looks like the Gladiator Coliseum with the water in it. I have no idea, but yeah. I mean, everything is is definitely a choice, to the point that like, I don't know, like, yeah, maybe things were too long, but I really dig that conversation with Bill Hader, the UPS guy that like discovered
Bill Hader is my favorite part. Yeah, Bill Hader is of all the. I mean, I get that movie was, I guess, worth watching just for Bill Hader, because Bill Hader was great. Like it's like maybe, are you sure you didn't dial the wrong number? No, it's saved in my phone as mom, and he's like, hang it up and call again. You probably called the wrong number. And then when Bill Hader picks back up, and he's just like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, and then when he finally makes it out to the wake or whatever, and the coffin's just like the corpse is just there with no head, and they're like, yeah, the chandelier fell on her head or something, man. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
You got to describe her. What did her body look like? Why are you asking me that? Look at her head. There isn't one, man. Well, I mean, there probably is, but it's all over the place, man.
Yeah, I mean, and even that, like, earlier when he's still dealing with the aftermath of all the people in his apartment, and that guy that just keeps apologizing is like in his ceiling while he's ceiling while he's trying to take a bath, and he runs out for like help, but the birthday killer's out there killing somebody.
Yeah,
and the birthday killer's like
guys running around.
Yeah, so that cop thinks that he's like the birthday killer.
He's the birthday suit killer. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that is where the movie loses me. It's like it is. I can almost, you can directly pinpoint it's when he gets hit by Amy Ryan, and then that's like everything up to there. I actually was like, oh, this is interesting. This is entertaining. I feel like that's the opening. The first like half hour is the most paced. Like there's stuff happening. I know what you're saying. There's those like surreal elements, and then after he gets hit by the car, that's when everything like slows down to a halt, and it feels like, I don't know, him being at Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane's house was like the season of The Walking Dead when they were on the farm for the entire season. I was like, are they ever going to leave this house? Because like, this is just getting like, this is just like, like everything, like, and you can tell it's something weird when like he keeps being like, hey, we have to leave today, and Nathan Lane being like, oh, we can't leave today. I gotta do stuff. We'll leave
And
tomorrow. I
just handing him
promise. And like
random
just keeps,
pills. He says,
yeah. And he has the ankle monitor on that he's like, that's your vital tracker for me to monitor your vitals. When it's like it's definitely an ankle monitor to track his location.
yeah. I mean, the pacing does slow down, but I feel like it kind of mirrors the injury. But yeah, the connection goes back to like that guy. That guy was stabbing you, but thankfully you didn't bleed out. You didn't
Yeah.
bleed out that
Yeah,
much.
there's so many weird characters in the beginning. There's that guy that like keeps burning his hands every time he goes to like every time he gets food and just goes hot like three different times when he's like they like give him like soup at the soup kitchen and he just screams like it's hot.
Yeah, and like the Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane are a little bit more on the subtle side as characters, except for when subtle, I mean they're still ridiculous, but they're not like the outrageous ones. The outrageous one is like their
Eve's
son's dead, their dead son's friend who lives
friend
outside.
from Iraq, yeah. Lives in the trailer outside.
Ellie, yeah, my dog Ellie was losing it whenever that guy was like crawling towards Joaquin, like when he slid down the grass, it's like sneaking towards him. But yeah, there's basically, I would say 4 sections or so, 5 sections probably. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
You get his chaotic New York apartment, then you get the Amy Ryan's house, and then you move into the play in the woods,
the forest, yeah.
That like predicts his life a little bit.
Yeah, it's like there's like 2 completely different parts that have his future. There's like that, but that thing like predicts his future, but then it's not his future. It's like just a hallucination or something, and it's like because all the people tell him, oh, it's the plays are just so real, you'll think you're part of it or something like that, and that's part of what it is. You get that guy that's like, it's like I was friends with your dad. And then he's like, are you my dad? And that guy's just like, I can't tell you, and runs away from him and then gets blown up by Jeeves.
I think the closest is that he, like, that is the life that he wants. Like, that's what he's projecting that he wants the most, is that he wants a family and everything. And we do find out that, you know, his mom has conditioned him to be afraid of his heart issue that he has, because he'll probably die if he orgasms like his father did the night that he conceived him. Yeah, the 4th part's kind of their house, his mother's house,
cool.
Which like she's comes off as like, you know, super rich and famous, and I'm sure they're rich to a degree if they're always, you know, on cruises and have a housemaid, but maybe they don't. Maybe like in his head, his mom's just so overpowering that that's how she comes off. But yeah, she's so manipulative. She fakes her own death, and
like a real solid Treehouse of Horror reference going on.
Oh yeah, 1,000% Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
I hope that it's not even. I hope Ari Aster is not even like, wow, I didn't even see that episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Like I hope like for 100% he's quite aware of it. But yeah, there's so many things in it. When you find out that his mother's still alive and she like set him up to hook up with that girl who's played by Parker Posey, and she's the one that dies from the heart issue.
I don't think she said that up specifically. I think just it was just her setting up to like prove that he really didn't love her or something like that. Like it was like, I knew you weren't going to show up when I invited you, so I faked my death to prove that you're a failure and that you weren't actually gonna come take care of me or something like that.
And if that isn't enough, the therapist wasn't a real therapist. He was just reporting back to me about everything. But yeah, what you're talking about is he's having these dreams, and she's like, bitch, that ain't a dream. That's your twin brother that we walked away in the attic.
Yeah, he's been in the attic forever.
So she tricks him to go up in the attic, and there is like a malnourished Joaquin Phoenix up there. There's also a giant penis monster that she says is his dad, which Jeeves busts in. He's still alive somehow, because even at the park scene, he's like shooting his gun through himself to get these people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's like, it kind of makes me think of, it's not exactly like David Lynch, but I feel like it's driven mostly by emotions. Like everything is supposed to be some sort of personal fear that he has. And I think that's why that this can be as insane as it can be. But
It
I
definitely
weird.
made me think of the movie I thought of the most when watching it was Pink Floyd's The Wall, which because there's 100% a lot of scenes that it ends with like a fake court trial in his own mind. That's
Mm-hmm.
the end of The Wall. That's 100% from that. There's a song in The Wall called Mother. That's also a thing that's all about mother issues. So it's like I felt like that was also something that he probably pulled from as well.
Yeah, and there's that like unreleased song that was supposed to be in the album called "My Dad's a Giant Penis Monster That Lives
Yeah,
in My Attic."
just didn't make it.
So yeah, it was like pretty much spot on. But yeah, he escapes. He does the trial. These people, like it has no representation. They literally throw his lawyer onto a rock and kill the guy. And he's basically found guilty because his mother's like, "How dare you do that to your mother?" Richard Kind is great. I would almost say every actor in this is great. Like I enjoyed all the performances, but yeah, I thought this one was fun, and I don't really think that's a description that a lot of people would say. But yeah, his like all even when they're in his house and they're showing all those like weird like magazines and stuff about his life, like he's like the Truman Show esque things. Like I don't really think it would be that
I
crazy.
don't think they were. Those were like ads because his mom was an ad exec, and
Oh, well, they were
she
like,
just put her kid in like all of the ads.
and then framed them and put them all
Yeah,
on her. Yeah. And then that is the kid too. I don't know if he's in other things, but that was the thing where everybody thought that they used AI to make that child, but he was like, that's really what the child looks like in real life. He's
he's
a
just
real
got a face
person that
like an
looks like
AI.
yeah, he's got a face like an AI, exactly. But
Face
yeah,
only an AI could love.
yeah, yeah. I like some of the practical things in it that Ari Aster chose to do. Like I did like a lot of the elements of the play. I think there's almost like a solid 5-minute shot of them just changing the seasons in front of your eyes on the play, and
Yeah.
yeah, you get Gandolfini Jr.'s in it. Little Gandolfini, he plays his son for like a second, but yeah, maybe no Bill Hader,
No.
not at that
Which,
level.
yeah, but also I mean, again, I will go back to it is my favorite part of the movie, but yeah, I do love when they're like interviewing him, and he's just like it is Bill Hader because you can just tell by the voice and the mannerisms. But like when they're
Hmm.
interviewing him, and he just has his back to it, and he's just like, "I was just trying to deliver a package. I don't know what you guys want. I wasn't involved in this. Stop asking me questions." Like he's just so awkwardly like just won't look at the camera and just be like, "Quit talking to me."
Yeah, when I saw it, I heard his voice. I'm like, it sounds just like Bill Hader. Would he be in this? And I'm like, he kind of is a cinephile. Like I could see him doing this almost pro bono. Like if I could get in on that, I'll get in on that. And obviously with his next movie, Joaquin Phoenix returned, and then we're getting like Austin Butler and Pedro Pascal. So like he's starting his universe, I guess.
Gotta
But
start somewhere.
I mean, hey, if you get away with it, if you could make what you want, and I do feel like he's a very competent director, but obviously, yeah, this wasn't your thing.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like some of the scenes that he sets up are really great. Like when he's leaving his apartment and it's doing that zoom pan and like just that real ominous, like it almost feels like the scariest thing just to be leaving the apartment. Like they captured that really well. But I mean, at least the movie right off the bat is like as absurd as it could possibly be with the birth, and then like yeah, he's outside, and it makes me think of some sort
He
of
got dropped on his head immediately.
yeah,
Did you drop him? No. I mean, yeah, I did. Like I said, I mean, a lot of what I liked was in the first like half hour. But yeah, I did really enjoy the very first thing is just a thump, and then it just being like, "Did you drop him? No. Why isn't he crying? It's fine." Like the doctor just being like, "Don't worry about it."
yeah, and then it cuts to modern day or whatever, and it's just the most every background person's doing the most insane thing possible. Everybody is like, there's something going on with each one of them that it makes me think of a Jacques Tati type film or something where it's just like this absurdist thing, or maybe even crazier than like Jodorowsky or something. You know what I mean? Like those, I don't really can't even think of like a something that is tapped into like the surrealistic film.
I
As
mean,
much as this,
the other movie I thought of that I think doesn't exactly. It's not necessarily going for the exact same thing, but I think is a similar tone and a similar attempt at something that was also divisive, but I liked it a lot better than this. Would be like Mother. I think that's a movie that kind of goes for like the same, that kind of surrealist tone. I mean, of just nothing in that movie feels real. That all feel, but again, I feel like the biggest difference, and I don't want to say it's the only thing that really ruins this movie for me, is Mother's like 2 hours or less, and it's like I think that would have just improved this to have somebody sit there and just go, I don't know, man, maybe like tighten that scene up or something. Maybe cut down on that. Maybe have him do less of this. Like, do we really need that to be in there? Like, I give him credit for, like I said, I'm sure this is the film that he wanted to film. I don't think there's not like a director's cut version, because I think the version that was released at 3 hours is his version. That's his cut that he wanted to release. But this feels like a case of, I don't know, maybe somebody should have sat there and been like, I don't know, bud, do we want to have this keep going on for another 10 minutes of this one thing? Like maybe we should move on to something else.
I feel like your biggest issue really seems to be not runtime, because you've enjoyed longer movies or just as long movies. It's like, it's the pacing and the structure. And I do agree with you. I obviously don't mind it as much, but the pacing changes almost with every act. Like, it never really is as chaotic or amped up as it is in that first part. And it does slow down, and it does feel like it potentially drags, because like you feel like, oh, the movie could be over right now, and you're like, no, there's still 40 minutes left of this movie. Like,
I mean, that was my reaction. Like I said, I probably stopped and started it like 4 times, and at the part that I think I stopped it at one point, and I think it was when he got to like his mother's house, and I was like, we've got to be close to the end. And I stopped it, and it was like, oh my God, there's still 55 minutes left of this movie. Like, how is there still 55 minutes left of this movie? And yeah, to compare it again to Mother, that's a movie that's the exact opposite, where it starts out slow, and then when you get to that last 15 minutes, and it's like the scene's changing like every 30 seconds to something new, and like people are breaking through the walls. Like that's using that structure in a I don't want to say more traditional way, but like building to like a huge crescendo at the end of all the chaos imaginable going on in Jennifer Lawrence's life, where it's just you can't even remotely predict what's going to happen next. And for a movie to do the exact opposite, to be, oh, you can't even keep up with what's going on, there's a million things happening in the background, to then just be like, all right, you're going to have to sit down and watch Joaquin Phoenix sit there for a good 10 minutes. He's just going to sit on the couch. He's not going to say anything. And you're like, and it's just like, it's such a shift that feels like just really, it makes the 2 hours left of the movie feel like another 4 hours, because the first half hour feels like 15 minutes.
Yeah. And I feel like most climaxes of all movies, pretty much, there's something that changes in the climax that like grabs your attention. So it's either like, if the camera's been very, very still, there's going to be a lot of movement, or vice versa. A camera could be moving a lot, but in the climax, it's gonna like kind of stop. It'll be on a tripod or something. And the editing kind of goes the same way. Like the movie works to be like usually very different for the climax of the film, and this doesn't. This really does feel like the structure is based around the mindset of whatever mental things he has going on, where his anxiety is so bad, but like the off and on, and maybe it's the drugs and stuff too, like calm him down. I don't really know 100%, but I would imagine that that's probably the idea of the pacing, the pacing doesn't match from beginning to end, and maybe it is something more to do with what's happening to him in that moment. But yeah, it's absurd the entire time. Like when he's like, I want to get on a plane. He's like, buddy, you can't get on a plane. Your wound will explode and you'll bleed to death.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, but all the stitches came out. He's like, don't I need to get stitched up again? Nah, just don't do any jumping jacks or anything like that. Like, it's just it's just absolutely wild. Yeah, if the length or pacing bothers you, maybe I recommend just finding a stopping point. Maybe when he shows up at his house, at least stop it and watch it the next day or something. Because it's like, honestly, even the ending is like, it has like a very anticlimactic, like,
it just kind of over.
It's not just like, it's not just like a downer of an ending. It's just sort of like, as crazy as everything's been happening, it's like a split second and it's over. Then it kind of lingers. It doesn't kind of linger. It does linger like 1000%. Like everyone's leaving, like as if they would be leaving the movie theater. Like, all right, movie's over. Guess I'm moving on. And yeah, you can interpret it 1,000 different ways. You have to interpret it, like you said, and the movie's not telling you anything. But yeah, if you want to see it, I believe it's on.
I think it was on Max. I'm pretty sure that's where I watched it.
I think that's where I watched it too. But I just was like, Beau Is Afraid, and found it. I'm sure there's a million more things to talk about. I'm sure if there were different people in this episode, maybe they'd be talking more about the symbolism and stuff that they loved, and maybe they could put that in the words better than I can. But it felt like a crazy, not just like an unreliable protagonist, but the same kind of concept of a protagonist that's like going through a mental crisis. And I feel like a very realistic mental crisis. Like, yeah, I like, there are people that are that paranoid and afraid of all this stuff. And, even if it's something small, like there's the brown recluse spider that's loose in the apartment or whatever. Like, I feel like in reality, they probably wouldn't even have anything like that. It would just be a matter of like, somebody was like, yeah, there's a brown recluse, you better watch out for them. And he's just so fucking paranoid that it just kills him. But yeah, probably an acquired taste. I think Joaquin Phoenix himself is an acquired taste.
It's especially at this point in his career.
Ever since what was his I'm Still Here? Ever since that movie, he's went like batshit crazy with all his performances. He's almost not played a normal person remotely. He's like you said, like he does stutter or he'll mumble, but he also does talk, and people ignore him in this movie. Like he'll be like, I don't want to do this, or why are you doing that? And they just fucking don't give a shit about him at all. Like, they just do not pay attention to him. So, and I will definitely hit more things off your list. Hopefully, things that you enjoy more. I don't think anything's is this level of crazy, and I definitely don't think anything is this long. I didn't try to pick the longest movie. I didn't make the fucking movie, but yeah, it is. It's still no OJ. Made in America, but maybe it's close. It might feel like it. Yeah, maybe it would have worked better as like a mini series or something. Do like 5 episodes or something. But it's not all I got. But I feel pretty comfortable with this episode. And I'm interested to see what you pick and what you go with. If you're going to pick something new that you haven't seen before, or some comfort food.
Let's see.
What weird ass movie you connect to this. I hope you pick like the least weird ass movie, just like the slightest connection. You're like, a chandelier did fall on this person's head, and that's what I went with.
That's the connection.
You have a lot to go off of. There's a lot in this movie that you could go with. So, more power to you. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with whatever that is, whatever you pick. Bye.
We are Cinema d'Amore. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with news and information on upcoming episodes. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, Alexa, or iHeartRadio. It would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to our podcast on your platform of choice. We also appreciate feedback, so rate us, review us, and let us know what you think. And above all else, thank you for listening.